Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It's your boy Chris. It's your boy Chris. It's another amazing episode of Financipation. This channel is all about making money, saving money, building generational wealth, and financially emancipating yourself from generational poverty. On this channel, everybody, I give you a six-figure MBA level with investing in financial knowledge for free here on YouTube. And the things that people typically spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to learn in grad school, I teach it to you for free on Financipation. Before I get started, I want to give a shout out to Killer Solutions. They're one of my sponsors. If you need digital marketing, website development, or someone to edit your YouTube videos, they're the best in the business at meeting all of your digital needs. And please hit that notification bell as well, okay, so that you know when I drop new content. So one of the things I want to talk about in this particular podcast is that I've noticed that, generally speaking, immigrants do extremely well when they come to this country. And a lot of times I'll see immigrants who move into America, and literally within 10 to 15 years, they are doing vastly better than most white, black, and native-born Americans in this country. And I wanted to delve into a little deeper research to kind of find out why is it that immigrants seem to do so well in America. And with that, everybody, let's get started. So the first reason immigrants do so well in America is that they push marriage and they push family. According to a 2021 study that was done by Family Studies, immigrant families are just flat out more stable, period, than native-born American families. 72% of first-generation immigrants that have children under 18 are married, whereas only 60% of native-born Americans that have children under 18 are married. This is what it looks like, everybody, in the real world. 94% of Indian immigrants are married. 90% of immigrants from Bangladesh are married. 87% of immigrants from Pakistan are married. 85% of Korean immigrants are married. 84% of Chinese immigrants are married. 80% of Polish immigrants are married. 78% of Iranian immigrants are married. 73% of Brazilian immigrants are married. 72% of Venezuelan immigrants are married. 71% of Nigerian immigrants are married. 68% of Mexican immigrants are married. And 51% of Cuban immigrants are married. Additionally, 50% of Jamaican immigrants are married as well. So if you're raising your children in a stable two-parent household, study after study shows that that is the greatest conduit to produce fully functioning, successful, stable two-parent household children that ultimately end up becoming stable two-parent household parents. Study after study shows that children who grow up in two-parent homes are 4 times more likely to move from poverty into the middle class. And study after study shows that children who grow up in single mother homes are 4 times more likely to move from the middle class into poverty. It's not a political statement, everybody. It's not a racist statement. It's not a sexist statement. When I say that two-parent households, on average, produce more productive adult human beings than single-parent homes. 4 hands and 2 brains are always better than 2 hands and 1 brain. And when 2 parents pool their financial as well as their mental resources together, it gives their children a vastly better chance at dominating and succeeding in the American version of capitalism. Everybody, it is literally as simple as that. Immigrants understand the importance of marriage and they understand the importance of family a lot more than native-born Americans do. And as a result, immigrants are taking hold of the American dream and leaving a lot of Americans literally behind in the dust. Next, the next reason why immigrants do so well in America is that they understand the importance of getting a good education. It's always interesting to me when I hear this, people say that Black Americans don't take education seriously, when study after study shows that Nigerian Americans from Africa have the highest percentage of bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, and PhDs in America. It's a kind of statistic that you will literally never hear mentioned on Fox News. According to an educational attainment study that was conducted by the Houston Chronicle in 2018, this is what the numbers show. 14% of second-generation Nigerian Americans have PhDs, compared to only 7.3% of second-generation Asian Americans who have PhDs. Studies also show that 43.8% of Nigerian Americans have a master's degree or a PhD in America, whereas only 42.5% of Asian Americans have a master's degree or a PhD in America. Studies also show that 28.9% of European Americans have a master's degree, 32.1% of Canadian Americans have a master's degree, and only 14.3% of native-born Americans have a master's degree. As a native-born American who has a master's degree, I found that study actually to be shocking, to be real with you. And on average, 63% of first-generation Nigerian Americans have a bachelor's degree, compared to only 52.1% of Asian Americans who have a bachelor's degree. This is a financial channel, everybody, and people with master's degrees and PhDs make significantly more money than people with only a bachelor's degree or a high school diploma. People with bachelor's degrees on average make 1.2 million more dollars than a person with only a high school diploma. And people with a master's degree make $2.1 million more than a person with only a high school diploma. And for what it's worth, people with a PhD make on average $3 million more than a person who only has a high school diploma. It should also be noted that study after study shows that people who attain higher levels of education typically have access to better healthcare. And I find it very interesting that there's this garbage going around saying Black people essentially don't take education seriously, when literally study after study shows that the most educated Americans in the United States are African Americans. Wake up, everybody. It's an agenda. Next. The next reason immigrants do so well in America is that a very small percentage of them are having babies outside of marriage. Ladies, despite what their new age is trying to tell you, the poorest demographic in America is the single mother, period. It doesn't matter whether you're Black, whether you're white, whether you're Asian, whether you're Indian, whether you're Latino. Single mothers on average have anywhere from 35 to 40 times less wealth than married women with children. And the wealthiest demographic in America today is the Indian American community. The Indian American community, as in from India, in 2023 had an average median income of $126,000. First generation Indian Americans' marriage rate is around 94%. The divorce rate is only 1.5%, and only 2.3% of Indian American women get pregnant out of wedlock. For comparison's sake, the average American family has a median income of only $67,000. 40% of American marriages end in divorce, and nearly 40% of American women today are having babies out of wedlock. There are obviously a lot of factors that go into these numbers, but to be honest, everyone, it's not a coincidence that the wealthiest ethnic group in America is also the most married, has the most stable home, has the lowest divorce rates, and the least amount of children outside of marriage. And as a military kid who lived abroad, my wife is Indian, and I've literally traveled to almost every continent on the earth. One of the things that I find amazing about the Nigerian culture, the Kenyan culture, the Asian culture, and the Indian culture is that it is considered an act of shame for a woman in those cultures to get pregnant out of wedlock. Obviously here in America, it's a little different, but in those cultures, it's considered literally unacceptable for a man in those cultures to get women pregnant and not to take care of his kids. And it's also considered unacceptable for a woman to get pregnant outside of marriage. As an American, I won't lie to you, I kind of wish that was the case in our culture, because study after study shows that the poorest demographic, once again in America, is the single mother. And guys, if you want to be poor, it's like this: have a bunch of baby mamas and pay out all your money in child support. Ladies, if you want to be poor, have a bunch of baby daddies and be a single mother. Because one reason why immigrants do so well in America, when I look at the numbers, is because they understand the value of not being a baby mama and not being a single parent. Before I go any further, please hit the notification bell so you know when I drop new content, okay? Next. The next reason immigrants do so well in America is that they understand that corporate America is a pit stop and that entrepreneurship is the ultimate destination. So in Washington, D.C., I work with some Nigerian dudes that worked in corporate America setting up IT networks for the federal government. And about 7 to 10 years later, they left and ended up starting their own company. They actually partnered with 3 other Nigerian brothers, and now they're running a highly successful IT consulting company and pull in well over $3 or $4 million a year. In Philly, I work with some Chinese guys or whatever in construction and engineering, and after 10 years in corporate America, they left Turner, they bounced, they partnered with some other Asian gentlemen who also had a background in finance and in construction, and today they started their own commercial development group. Here in Miami, I work with some Jamaican guys that got sick and tired of working in corporate America as a forensic structural engineer because they got tired of the racism and the other isms they constantly dealt with. And as a result, they started his own engineering firm with some Dominican guys and some Venezuelan guys. And today that brother's pulling in $5 to $10 million per year. One thing I respect about immigrants is that they understand the importance of entrepreneurship and of starting a business, and they go out of their way, unapologetically, I might add, to hire their own people. The Jamaican guy specifically tries to hire qualified Jamaican men. Those Asian guys I was telling you about, they specifically go out of their way to partner with other Asian firms. Those Nigerian guys I was telling you about, they specifically go out of their way to try to find Nigerian marketers. Nigerians that basically specialize in finance and in accounting. Why? Because they understand the importance of essentially helping your own people when you quote unquote make it. And I love the fact that Indians, Asians, Africans, they unapologetically go about doing this, because not only does it allow immigrants to essentially skip over the dregs of racism and sexism that absolutely exists and dominate corporate America, it gives these immigrant groups the experience that allows them to essentially dominate the industries that they work in. And it gives them the ability to be able to create jobs for their own people and to pass the wealth from those jobs that they create onto the next generation of Nigerians, of Jamaicans, of Haitians, and of Asians. Immigrants realize, everybody, the importance that capitalism, particularly the American version of capitalism, places on entrepreneurship. And immigrants, once again, they realize that corporate America is a pit stop, but entrepreneurship is the ultimate destination. Next, the next reason immigrants do so well in America is that they move into homes together and they have multiple generations living under the exact same roof. This is one of those things I wish to God we as Americans could copy, but it's a little challenging because when we graduate, we always take the best jobs on the other side of this country. So if you live in Sacramento, you graduate from UCLA or whatever, you take a job in Miami. If you live in New York, you graduate, top of your class, you get a job in Austin, Texas. It's a little harder for us to kind of do this. But one of the things that I find so dope about immigrants is that when they come to America, right, they move into communities, into homes, and they surround themselves with each other so they can essentially pass their knowledge to the next generation. Some Americans make jokes about it, but it is literally not uncommon to see generations of Mexicans, Asians, Haitians, and Trinidadians literally living in the same house. It's not uncommon to see 9 or 10 family members basically live in a 3 to 4 bedroom home, save all their money, buy another home in 3 to 5 years, and then have one of the family members move into that home, call for relatives back in the native countries from Central America, from the Caribbean, from Africa, from India, and then essentially repeat the process. So you'll essentially have engineers, lawyers, carpenters, blue-collar electricians, all living under the same house as grandma. And they combine their resources and their money, and they can literally use it to essentially become real estate investors, to buy homes, and to dominate the American dream. It also allows them to pass their family values, their cultures, their languages, literally from generation to generation. Immigrants, everybody, understand the importance of living together and pulling their resources together. And that is another reason why they dominate when they come to America. Next, the next reason immigrants do so well in America is that they take care of their elders and they don't throw them in a nursing home. I spoke a little bit about this earlier, but immigrants in general, everyone, they don't believe in nursing homes. There's an African proverb that says when an old person dies, an entire library burns down, and immigrants treat their elders like valued libraries that should be treasured. You rarely go into a nursing home or into homeless shelters and you see a bunch of older first generation immigrants living inside there if those immigrants have children. In fact, fellas, I'm gonna tell it completely like it is. If you marry an African girl, a Caribbean girl, a Latina, or an Asian girl, just expect to be told that your mother-in-law can literally move in whenever she wants to. I'm keeping it real. In America, everybody, we have this uniquely American idea of putting our grandparents in nursing homes and visiting them once a month. But immigrants do not roll like that. And because they realize that old people are an asset, they understand the importance of having multiple generations literally living under one roof. Grandma, grandpa, great-grandma, great-grandpa. They all live under the same house as, once again, as the working professional, the newly married Mexican engineer, the newly married Nigerian lawyer, the newly married Asian doctor. And they pass that generational knowledge and wealth from one generation to another. Next, the next reason immigrants do so well in America is that they know what it's like to really be hungry. This is what I like to call the third world fire. And as a guy who lived abroad, who essentially has grew up around immigrants, who's actually an American immigrant, this is one of the things that I kind of see that's truly dope about immigrants. It's one reason why I actually like kicking and hanging out with a lot of them, to be real with you. My wife is a Caribbean immigrant. And when her mother and her brother and herself moved to America, they had 4 suitcases and a few $100s between all 4 of them. And in less than 20 years, my wife has graduated with a science degree. She's an entrepreneur and she's working on another degree. And on top of that, she's also running 2 businesses. In addition to all those things I just started talking about, she's also a wife and a mother of our 2 children, and she's running our businesses. According to my wife, as an immigrant, there was no such thing as dropping out of school. There was no such thing as failing a class or not taking school seriously, because her family did not have the money when they came to America to essentially take a class a second time. And according to my mother-in-law, moving back to the tropical, beautiful, but third world Caribbean country that they grew up in was never an option. Why? Because when their mother won their visa to come to America, my mother-in-law knew that her kids have a vastly better chance and have vastly more opportunities if they grew up in America versus growing where she grew up in the Caribbean. People, that's the reason why immigrants do so well. They understand the importance of giving your kids opportunities and systematically putting yourself in uncomfortable situations for a couple of decades so that your children can have a better shot. Another example I want to give is this. One of the mixed martial arts gyms I used to train at, and I used to go to all the time in Philly, there was an electrical engineering PhD guy I used to spar with. His name was Adnan, who was born and raised in Afghanistan. Adnan's father was a translator for the U.S. military, and Adnan's father won citizenship to come to America. On his first day in college, years later, when Adnan was in New Jersey, there was a huge food fight in the cafeteria. And Adnan told me he basically broke down in tears and started crying. Why? Because where he grew up in Afghanistan, he had cousins that literally were killing themselves over moldy bread and fruit because they had no food. Yet here in America, we had so much food that we were literally throwing it at each other in the cafeteria. Think about that for a minute, everybody. Because of stuff like that, it made Adnan work that much harder in school. These are two examples, everybody, of what I call the third world fire. I'm not saying that we don't deal with our fair share of BS in America. I mean, heck, we have 2 mass shootings literally every day in this country. But from my experience of living abroad, from traveling abroad, and from being married to an immigrant, immigrants know what it's like to really be broke. They know what it's like to really be poor. They know what it's like to really be hungry, to be cold, and to live in a country that literally affords them no opportunities. And because of that, when they come to America, they understand that in this particular country, despite all the isms that you experience in America, you literally can become anything you want if you work hard, you focus, and you stay focused on the ultimate goal. So immigrants, particularly the ones that are Black and brown, they will openly and quickly admit the issues in America, like mass incarceration, mass racism, mass shootings, and police brutality. But immigrants find a way around these uniquely American challenges, and they find a way to financially emancipate themselves from poverty and to build generational wealth. And immigrants, a lot more so than Americans, I would say, take full advantage of the American dream. This channel, everybody, is all about making money. It's about saving money. It's about building generational wealth, and it's about financially emancipating yourself from generational poverty. You can book a one-on-one session with me at any point. My link is going to be below. I'm not giving you financial advice on this channel. You must make your own responsible decisions based on the independent, thorough research that you do for yourself, okay? Thanks for listening, everybody. Please follow me at www.therealfinancipation.com. Check me on Instagram, @thereal_financipation. My Spotify is Financipation, and my TikTok is also Financipation. Please, my Facebook page is Financipation, just like it's spelled in that sign back there. And I check out my financial blog as well, where I go for $4.99 a month, where I go into a lot more detail about investment accounts, HSAs, Roth IRA conversions, and things of that nature. Please like, please comment, please share, please subscribe. It helps the algorithm. Please hit that notification bell because I thoroughly enjoy giving you guys free content. It's your boy, Chris. I'm out, everybody. Peace.